Hi there, my name is Zach Brigel, and welcome back to my channel called the AI Positive Educator. My goal here is to help you learn more about AI so you can save time, help your students learn more about AI so they can better themselves before they enter a workforce dominated by AI, and also just to understand everything that's happening at the moment with AI in education so you can make the best choices for you and your classroom. Let's get started on the second video. So for the first video, we're going to be discussing the growing capabilities of AI mathematically from the end of 2022 to early 2026, looking at ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini. And we're really going to be talking about why this is important, why does this matter for teachers, and most importantly, why does this matter for our students? So we start off with the end of 2022. ChatGPT had just been released publicly, and it was the equivalent of a middle schooler who was sort of between the end of grade 6 and the early stages of year 8. And it was getting a lot of things wrong for these mathematical year levels, particularly worded problems, as we can see below. And it would really need regular correcting in order to give you mathematical help, even at this low level. Gemini and Copilot had not yet been publicly released at this point. So by the end of 2023, AI was effectively a high-achieving high school student. ChatGPT had mastered advanced subjects like calculus. Gemini scored an A on a UK A-level maths exam, which is equivalent to our VCE. And Microsoft Copilot, which launched early on in 2023, was already working at approximately a year 11 maths level. So these jumps are quite remarkable when we consider that at the end of 2022, AI was really only working at a year 8 maths level. And it had basically jumped the equivalent of 3 or 4 levels or years in the space of 1 year. Certainly much quicker than a human could progress. So now we get to the end of 2024. All three models are now the equivalent of top high school maths graduates, equivalent to the level of the best students in the class who are dominating high school mathematics and ready for university. So this is where things get really interesting. By July 2025, a mere 7 months after dominating high school mathematics, AI was essentially the level of a gifted university math student. And this was evidenced by OpenAI and Google's participation in the International Mathematical Olympiad, which is kind of like the Maths Youth Olympics. So this is a yearly maths competition between the best high school maths students in the world, the most gifted mathematical students in the world. And in July of last year, 635 students from over 100 countries around the world participated. Each participant tackled 6 problems with 7 points available for each problem. So both OpenAI and Google were fully correct in 6 problems, giving them a score of 35 out of 42. And that was beaten by only 26 of the over 600 highly gifted mathematical students in this competition, which is quite incredible. And most notably there, I want to point out what has happened in 3.5 years. So you can see on the screen that example problem, which is a year 8 maths question about the train traveling from city A to city B. So ChatGPT actually got that wrong regularly in late 2022. Now it was doing international maths Olympiad questions, just like the problem below, which is quite incredible, only 3.5 years later. And this is obviously a level of growth that no human could ever achieve that quickly. So now we arrive at early 2026, and AI is now the solver of some of mathematics' most difficult problems, otherwise known as the Urger's conjectures. Please keep in mind that just over 3 years ago, AI was regularly getting Year 8 maths questions wrong, such as the one I showed you on the previous slide. So what are the Urger's conjectures? So Paul Urgos, who is known as one of the greatest mathematicians of all time, wrote a list of over 1,000 unsolved mathematical problems or conjectures throughout his life, and these became known as the Urgos conjectures. So since his death in 1996, humans working without AI have solved almost 200 of these problems, 179 in total. And since October of 2025, AI and humans working together have solved 98 problems, which I think is significant in itself because it shows the growth of AI in being good enough at mathematics to actually understand and help humans with some of these problems. But most interestingly, I believe, AI acting autonomously by itself without really any human input has actually solved 2 of these problems. And one of them was where a researcher named Neil Samani actually entered the problem into ChatGPT's reasoning model, and 15 minutes later, it spit out an answer, and that answer was then verified by some of the top mathematicians in the world to be correct, which is quite unbelievable. So, as we said, AI is now officially solving some of mathematics' most difficult problems that humans have never been able to solve. Quite incredible. So what does all of this mean? I'm AI positive. I believe in the positive power of AI, and I believe that the positivity way outweighs the negativity of all of this. But I would like to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll look forward to seeing you at my next video very soon. Bye.